It is.
Mhm.
Oh, hi everybody. Well, actually, we were just talking amongst ourselves and decided to do our own show. So, what can I say to you? Looks like we are there, and I'm seeing it coming up on the feed. So, Trina, we are live, girl. Hi, everybody.
Yay.
I see y'all. I can see myself. That means I'm seeing myself in the future. Hey, Steiger, you won, man. For freaking out. But anyway, welcome everybody. It's Tuesday, and if you're here, you have fulfilled your destiny. So give yourself a pat on the
A pat
back,
on
a
the back, a
self-hat.
self.
I'm hearing myself echo on somebody. It's like, oh yeah, see, I'm also hearing myself. But anyway, we just speak favor over you on this favorable day. And as we like to say, nothing missing, nothing broken. Because am I hearing myself again? No. Because that is where, if there is such a thing as perfect peace, I don't know, I haven't found it. Well, that's where it would be at. But then again, Trina, I'm thinking, you know, the thrill is being part of the imperfectness. I mean, it gives us purpose. We take on these forms, these avatars, and we dance with the gods, and because we realize we're dancing with one another.
Yes.
So anyway, welcome, sweetie. Good to see you.
It's
And I
good to
see
see
Jenny
you.
down there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think Jenny's trying to come
Yeah,
in.
I can see that. Yeah, it's
You know,
like
Wayne, that's
Jenny.
exactly what I found. It's the whole year gods thing. I worked on that for a long time. I'm like, how could we be gods? And what is a god? Because when they said ye are gods, I'm like, okay, that means we're not creator. We might be a part of it, but we're not it. So, if that's a classification. So, like being human, ye are gods, ye are images of God. I toiled around with that for a long time. And once I realized that within a holographic structure of a holographic construct based on binary code, that makes perfect sense because within the fractal is the whole. So as we do create and we do manifest here, and all these things are true, and that's from that spark that we have within us that is part of the whole. And that's how we do dance together because we are all the same. When you break it down, we're just this creative impulse of light that bursts forth out of creation, and the potential and possibility of it is as endless as source itself. That's
Well,
quite a conundrum.
actually, when I was in Bible school, the word image
Mhm.
means a just that, an image
Copy.
of the whatever it is. That word that they use in the Old Testament, it is said that the reason why the other species detested us was that the fact that we were in the image of the god or gods, and therefore we are gods. You see, you can't make a lesser thing from an image. So if the word is true, and it goes in several different belief systems,
Mhm.
then the fact is right in front of us, we're so ignorant. They have blinded us because we represent the single biggest threat to the universe because unless another species can come and show the legal document, we are in fact God. We are the image of
Yes.
getting
Bless
all
you.
choked up. Hey Jenny, how you doing, dear? As I take a
Internet
break.
issues. Yeah, true that. Everything that you've just
What is
said.
this?
Yeah, and we
So
need to stop this rhetoric of uh, putting a third party before self, i.e. a God before self, i.e. I make this decision because God told me, because own it. You told you. Own it, manifest it, be it, good or bad. Own the God that you are, the goddess that you are, and stop third partying stuff,
I was mopping
onto.
the floors and because I ask this thought all the time, how can you find imperfectness within perfection? I mean, the two are so diametrically opposed,
You
but then,
know, Wayne, that's why they told me you had to fall into a lower density to experience the challenges of not being what you already are. That's why we have an ego. It
well,
divides
what,
you from all perfection. It gives you that contrast, that friction, so you can explore. I think we get bored and we
well,
wanted a challenge.
as I was mopping the floor, the thought came to me, and the fact is that if the first statement is correct, we are, in fact, the image of God, therefore we are God, um, then what we did is that we created this.
Yeah.
Imperfectness is the perfect state of matter. It is chaos, and out of chaos
Mm-hmm.
comes creation. We are chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they quarantine us on this planet, because,
Hmm.
maybe out there in wherever it is out there, they look at us as a freak show.
Well, they know we have amnesia. We can't. We come in with no
So
memory.
who
That's
who who gave who
why.
amnesia? Was it us or was it them? I don't know.
What if it's the trauma of fracturing the soul?
I guess that gets back to the debate. Do we have a soul?
What if it's
Why?
just some ones that wanted to be in charge of other people and
I mean,
fooled
does
us in?
God have a soul?
Mm, I don't know. I think it
Well, he
created
would have
soul.
to,
Well, because
because
soul would be like a cell, like a capsulized because it's broke away from the all, so it's into now its own little form, its own little sphere, its own little source. But
let's see,
within the
Genesis 2:9
connected.
says, and God breathed into Adam, and he became a living soul. So
Mm-hmm.
here's
Spirit.
something to think about. So the image we are. So only a God or the image of God could actually possess what would be called a living soul, which means there is different classifications of soul.
I think so. I
I
think
mean,
so.
what's different? Well, if he breathed into him the breath of life, quote unquote, and Adam became a living soul. So was he a dead soul before then?
I wonder about that too. And they say they put him to sleep and then they took the rib out and created Eve. And but it doesn't ever talk about them waking Adam up. And it seems like they had to really dumb him down because he was smarter than the
Well,
beings that were there, and he named everything. And then they put him to sleep. So I think they
so
were like, no,
did
no,
Eve have
no.
a soul?
I don't know. I don't know if he
Because
was a
God did
clone.
not breathe into her.
So I said, and she was taken from the rib. That's DNA. That could be a cloning process.
Yeah, I mean, in many religions, that's why the feminine is degraded down to like the lowest of the low.
If it's not the image and it's a copy of an image,
And
that
now you're
could
talking
be the
artificial
reason.
intelligence or
Yes,
artificial deity.
yes. What if this was the beginning of artificial intelligence in our experience as a being? I,
See, I like
I
that the
ponder.
first part of the Genesis 1:26 when it says that these gods made male and female. There was no distinction. There was male, there was female,
Mhm.
and it wasn't a mystery. But those people went away, and then we got this. So, Jenny, you got such a sweet little smile on your face. What's up?
Yeah. This is the problem if you're doing a science experiment and you take over from somebody else's science experiment and you don't know where their foundation was or where their foundational theory was. And so everything we've just spoken about is based on a book written by man that is being
Hmm.
reinterpreted for every
Was one
power
written by
that
a woman?
so yeah, so did she not get the breath of life? Of course she did. We're here. We're breathing. I'm breathing. Are you, Trina? So there's lots of books about the women that are hidden from us. So we don't have the full experimentation foundation, but we do know from where we are right now that we have equality in the fact that we can breathe air in and out of our lungs. It's just what we base around a book that where the inequality lies. And I think that's because the people who took over the experiment, realized there was power in the balance of woman and man, feminine and masculine. So they broke the experiment, so we can never get to the theory, therefore never get to the conclusion if we're basing
What's
it
the
on a book.
experiment? I lost on that.
So the experiment would be, well, experiment would be anything. It's metaphorical in that if you don't know the full apparatus and the full foundation, i.e., we don't, because even the full book isn't there. The book that we're talking about right now, a lot of the chapters are hidden, ironically hidden about women in the Vatican. So if we don't have the full theory, we can't make full assumptions from that book, so to speak, because we can't assume that breath of life wasn't breathed into the woman.
But it
We
doesn't
can't.
say it in those books. And furthermore, God, or the God that is here, did not make a covenant with a woman. He made a covenant with a man, Abram.
They say,
Mhm.
though, the God that is here, your father is the devil.
Well, you
So
can't,
with
that's
that,
the problem with Christian theology, is that you can't define where the Father came from. It's like
That's what I mean.
yeah,
You don't
I,
know. Yeah.
it's like, the monologue I got into as to what is the God of love. I've never met that God. I don't know who that God is. Um, and you can't tell me that the God of love is of the Bible, particularly of the New Testament, because I take you to Isaiah, where it says God does not change and that he is a jealous, vengeful, wrathful God. So if that is the Old Testament God, how could he become this God of love?
I don't think that it is the
You
same
see, that's
being.
my point. I don't think
No
so
way.
either.
I don't either.
I don't know
Not
where
at
the
all.
God of love is, but I
I
think
like
I've
what
been
the
close.
I like what the Nag Hammadi talks about, and ironically, not a lot of people have ever read that. And
Yeah,
it
but the
literally,
Nag Hammadi, let's be honest, is about the Hebrew God.
well, it goes above the Hebrew God, though, beyond this world,
Mm,
above the demiurge. It goes to the pleroma, and the pleroma goes to wisdom, and wisdom goes to the first
I know
emanation
I got the
from
book right. I
source.
make reference to it, but it's a
Yeah.
part. It was supposed. These are the books that did not make the canonical cut.
Yeah, that's why I like them the best.
Yeah.
Me too.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, that's where the mind trap comes into this thing because the answer, I think, is right there in front of us. I think it's in
Hmm.
front of all mankind, but we fall back into our religious and our other type of beliefs because, well, we're confused. We don't realize that we're actually gods. But anyway,
I
it's
think that's the whole way that the only way they were able to utilize our energy to create what they want.
but who is
I,
they? That's where
I
we.
think ones that were created in creation, but they didn't possess the soul. And that's what gives you the ability to be immortal. And the soul carries the memory of all the experiences that you gather as a break off a piece of source. And I don't think they have that. They may have a soul for operating the vessel, but they don't get the part where you don't die, I don't think. And you know how we come in with amnesia? I think that's their current state. And that's why they stay alive and stay alive. But I believe that there's positions of where you can go into different realities or different worlds where you don't go in with the amnesia. So I don't know if that's an option for them. And that's why they cling on to trying to get our immortality from us, because it does seem that there's two different kinds of species, one that creates its own light and life, and one that feeds off light and life.
You know what I'm looking for? Toto. He's supposed to pull the damn curtain back. I mean, because we're all standing out here with, Dorothy, and you got the scarecrow over there, and you got the
Uh-huh.
lion over there. It
But what is it? They put us all through the poppy field and made us
and
take
it's
a
like,
nap.
we're sitting here in the Group W bench. Uh,
Well, this Toto do.
Yeah.
Toto do.
hey there, little guy.
Will you pull
And
back the curtain?
what if Toto represents your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind, which is the power of the divine feminine? I think about that often.
I don't know. I mean,
It rips the veil away from your mind. You can see through the veil. When Toto removes the curtain, you can see the stage.
as a 5-year-old, I had a crush on Glinda.
Yeah, I know.
I really did. I mean, 1960, when Wizard of Oz, and I went, wow. I
If
mean,
I was a
I had
boy,
a
I
thing
would
for
have had a crush
blondes,
too.
coming right in. I mean,
Yeah, I liked her too. I'm like,
so
if I was a boy,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, these are the type of questions that only gods would entertain
I
because
think so.
my dog knows it's a dog. Bentley is just a lovable guy. Took him to the groomer
Mhm.
yesterday. He was a little pissed when he got back, but he's over it now. But,
Yeah,
he has the same emotions. He shows love,
yeah,
he can express pain, he can express emotions. So
yes.
that kind of tells me right there that Bentley has a soul. I have no doubt when I make that transition. I think every, animal that you've ever was attracted or attached to you will be over there as well.
Hmm.
I'm really getting to know the deer. There is a deer here, and she no longer runs when she sees me because she knows that I'm bringing out food. And so now she's brought her little fawn up with,
Oh,
and in the evening and the early mornings, last couple of mornings been really foggy here, hot, but really foggy. And it's so freaking cool to see her and this little fawn out there just, grazing in our yard.
I
Anyway,
love
I
that.
think they have a soul, you know,
I do too.
I
I do
do.
too.
And the squirrels, those guys, I swear they're part of they're tricksters. I think that's their whole deal. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
How's everybody in the chat room? Man, I love the discussion. Our soul may determine the options available to us both in this life and the next.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Max says, "Come on, Wayne, are you blind? How many veils have to be pulled back before we realize the veils are being pulled back exponentially if I use that word correctly?"
Veils are always being.
Max says, "You're gonna have to reword that because I really don't understand." Um, but yeah,
I think to say that there's a lot of opening up of information right now, and a lot of unveiling of information, and seeing things for what they are right now. I think that's right, Max. But
yeah, but
the
everybody has their own view when it comes down to it. Not
yeah,
one person has the same God.
Yes.
yeah, and
Absolutely.
are always being lifted. We never ultimately lift the veil from self because there's always more to discover. There's always more to
I mean, isn't the
apply.
ultimate veil death? Once
Mm.
that veil is lifted, you go and transcend into whatever awaits you. I
The
don't
way
believe everyone goes to heaven. I don't believe anyone goes to hell. I think
I
that
can
there,
see you getting through Veil One, and this is where the debates are going to start. Oh my God, they're in for it.
what veil of what? Death?
Levels of death and levels of heavens that you can travel to. So it depends on your consciousness where
I
you're
don't know
going to
what
go.
heaven is,
Heaven is a construct, just like this one.
but what is it? I mean,
It's still within the matrix. There's multiple layers of heavens.
and that would imply that we are forever stuck.
No, I don't think so. I don't think
How can
many
heaven
figured
exist in the
out.
matrix and it's really what you want to escape is the matrix?
I think that this is
Or do you,
a copy of that which is original. So as I
Because
look
then
at
that
it,
would negate that we are gods.
no, it wouldn't, because you're what makes this copy even operate. Without what you have, it falls apart.
We're not a copy. We are an image.
Yeah, but
That's a
that
key
image
difference. No, but
is,
it's a key difference.
well, an image is the
When you're
original.
looking in the mirror, are you looking at a
Well, you're
copy
not
or an
the
image?
you're a product of an image, but your image is still above. It's not here.
No, now the question I'm asking, if you're looking in the mirror, are you looking at an image or a copy?
It's a reflection.
But a reflection is an image. It has to have something to reflect on.
Correct.
So wouldn't it be an image?
It's an image of matter.
No, I'm not trying to get, no, I'm trying to say in a literal sense, then
That's what
what
I'm
we,
telling you. In a literal sense, it's an image of matter that you've created with the power of what is above you, which is the true you, which is a light body, which can create whatever it
no,
wants.
I understand this, but
So
I guess
that's
I'm getting back into the creation on the, let's say the Abrahamic belief systems that
just,
God created us in his image or its
yeah,
image. So again, what I'm trying to stress is that it's not a copy, it's an image, which makes it the God.
part of it. Yeah. But here we're in a demiurge system, which is a inverted reflective system.
Then
It's not
someone
created.
created that.
Yes, I believe so.
Well, I don't think it just spontaneously, but I said then so if someone created that, then again, I'm looking for Toto. I want to pull that curtain back so we can get on with this. Because this is today we're on the verge of World War III.
Yeah.
We've got a country divided.
Hmm.
Unity has been perverted because now unity has been divided. Well, we're unified on this point of view. No, we're unified over in this. And so now we have a division where unity used to mean coming together as one. And on top of that, in the Soul Tribe, we got a lot of people who are facing some real health issues.
Hmm.
I mean, so I look at all this, and if we were just to put it all into the bowl and start mixing it, so then something created that. Something created the environment that all this is unfolding in. These are my thoughts I had today as I was out walking. And the question came to me, so are we seeing prophecy fulfilled? Are we truly in the days of tribulation? Are we really going to see this Israeli war that has been talked about, prophesied about? And is the leader of our country leading us into paradise or leading us into oblivion? Because if Israel does whatever they're about to do, you had the president say for the residents of Tehran, get out. I mean, the Trina, as you and I were talking before we went live, I haven't seen anything like this since the Cuban Missile Crisis, 1960. We are, it's if you were a gambler, wow, I hope that they are not doing that approach, gambling on certain things, but something is about to happen, something big. It was reported that the United States Air Force is ratcheted up in domestic contingencies. So there is just a lot going on. And by what the king was your king, Jennifer, Saturday, right? And then Trump, he had his birthday on Saturday. The
I didn't know
200
our
and
birthday was. I didn't know. I was just saying on
yeah,
his
and
birthday.
then Saturday, the 250th anniversary of the United
Army.
States Army. I mean, okay, just coincident?
It looks like we've gone through these waves, like, over repeat, war, famine, catastrophe, but they're all attached to cycles. And it does feel like we are at one of those closing parts of a cycle. I do think this might be part of how like I said, the souls go to their different positions for the next go rounds. You know what I mean? So I wonder if part of it's natural, but most of it now is scripted because, the ones who write the script, they want the script to run the way they want it to. But I think many of us are here that are creating new timelines and new potentials. And I used to see time as a line, and now I see it as a circle, and it's got spokes, and energy shoots out in all different directions. And where you land is where you are within your heart. So it was funny too. The other day, something was telling me home is where the heart is. Home is where the heart is. And I was like, okay, yeah, I get that. No, no, they're like, no, literally, home is where the heart is. Where is your heart? I was like, oh, it's inside my body. It's always inside me. Home is inside me. I am home because my consciousness is what never changes.
Your
Just the
body is
body.
just so temporary, though, sweetie. I mean, you
Correct.
think
As I
about it.
said, the
How can you get,
body is
uh,
temporary. Yeah, the
it's,
body is temporary. But what's inside my heart that makes it beat? That's where home is. That's what it's somehow something very important.
and
Home
every
is where the
home
heart
is
is.
different. No
Home is
one
where
home
you
has
live.
the same decorator.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely.
I mean, are we just these, these synaptic pathways? And is that, I don't know.
I think that's possible, but wow, how powerful are you that you can manifest a body on a physical plane? Wow.
And then you've got those people that are housing those bodies that are making these decisions. And it, Lynn and I were talking about this last night as we were seeing things beginning to ratchet up. And, you know, I don't know how many of you read the book Damascus Rising by James Caan. I swear it's that book. What we're seeing unfold is the freaking uh, whole antithesis of the book.
Yeah, remember when I told you I had an interesting encounter with a child who literally stood up, grabbed a picture Bible, and
Hmm.
started prophesizing? She talked about the great devolution derby, the great devolution, the great demolition. And then she talked about the restoration that would follow that. And there is a massive change on this planet after we go through this. And how long it lasts, I don't know. But I do know
Um,
we're going to go through something.
I want to read Joe Mack, We Just Send You Love, number one. He says, those Rockies in Israel, he lives there. Those rockets that are hitting over here rattle my doors up here above the Sea of Galilee. I've been here for the wars since '03. These missiles are the most powerful ever felt in this country.
Oh,
Well, brother, we just send you love. We just take a second here because that's what I'm talking
and
about.
a shield of protection.
Uh, Hilton Sutton was my mentor and Bible teacher, particularly in biblical prophecy. And I got to tell you, folks, I'm not a Christian, uh, but hello, fly. Um, but what I'm seeing is exactly what's in the book of Daniel. I mean, this is Daniel 70 weeks, and this is again just my perspective, but I
Mm.
studied this for decades, and I'm sitting here going, all right, it can't be just coincidental that these things are unfolding that have been prophesied. And the thing about prophecy, it's it's subjective as to who's interpreting it.
Yes. And where you were prophesizing from, because it could only be about your land and your territory, so there's
Yeah,
a lot to that.
it's
Yeah.
even weirder because if you look at these prophecies in Daniel, that took place in Babylon.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at history on this, so Babylon was like ground zero for the occult. It was ground zero for what would be called magic. I mean, there were powerful wizards back then and goddesses galore. But anyway, this is what came out of that. And I keep on asking myself, so did Daniel really prophesy about the Hebrews or the Jews or was there have we mispositioned this no matter what? So just for y'all, where do you stand on this? I mean, do you have where's your energy at? Do you think that this is leading to something that's going to draw in the United States, draw in Russia, draw in China? If Israel does something that is really going, they're broadcasting it. And as
Yeah.
you said, Trina, this begins to disrupt commerce, trade.
Hmm.
Oil is already spiking into new highs. Has so Jenny, you have been as quiet as a mouse.
I'm just listening. I'm just listening. It's I predicted a lot about Iran on old videos and the powers that they have, and unlike the West, they're not as forthcoming to brag about what we have to the
And they're
world
the
stage.
Aryan race, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. So, and they've held back. They've held back. The Middle East has held back. All of the interference from the Middle East in the recent years, in the recent decades, has actually, when you look at it, been in situ, put in situ by us, by America, by the UK, by France. So the Middle Eastern problem is a problem of our making, and we've the places that we've gone to, we've left in far worse states, and so. But Iran, like many other places, unlike the West, doesn't brag about what its military capability is or what it has under the radar. And I did some remote viewing years ago about some of the capabilities that they have, and give them the due. They've been poked and prodded and poked and prodded, and the Iranian people, not the religious police we left in situ, but the Iranian people have held their breath, they've held their ground, and they're being pushed to a point where I feel we're going to regret it, the West in general, because these things that have been kept under the radar and not bragged about might be needed to be used. And that would be unfortunate. But as far as the what's happening and the prophecies, and these people are piggybacking of ancient script that has been adapted and decocted for the powers that be to have the most power over people. It's a magical script. It gets into the subconscious. We're seeing a repeat of history, as in the 1940s, somebody else, a group of people rewrote the Bible again. We're seeing Trump come out with a Bible of his own. We're seeing the telltale signs of the predictive script happening again. So yeah, I do hear the war drums. I feel them very
Well, the
strongly.
U.S. is responsible for this whole situation in Iran. When
Mhm,
we supported the Shah of Iran
mhm.
and did that, and he was a ruthless individual. And when the people of Iran, which are it's amazing, they're really cool people. They're like us.
Yeah, people.
And
Yeah.
so when that power vacuum became there, the U.S. knew exactly what was going to happen. And instead of having another process of bringing free elections, they allowed the radical aspect of the religious far right, you could say, to come in. And here we are now, some 50 years later,
And the same
dealing.
in Afghanistan. They did exactly the same as you've just described recently in Afghanistan. We've left it in a place where we've deliberately left it in a place where these tyrannical people have now weapons that they didn't have
Oh,
before.
that whole thing with Biden was purpose. And it was I can remember reading in the New York Times that we left enough equipment to
Yeah,
equip and weaponize an army.
yeah.
Yeah.
While leaving people of
Really?
where Afghanistan
It's like, do you
people,
think?
You just left it
yeah,
there?
Yeah, just left it
yeah,
there.
And
Yeah.
they're like, oh,
deliberately.
I am.
And we left
Ah,
them
we
there
don't
to
need it,
yeah, did too, and we left people of Afghani people who'd helped us, who'd aided us. We left them, both countries, mine and yours, to the behest of these new radicals that have been put in place. And so I've got family in Esfahan and Tehran. From my mum being married to an Iranian for many years, and she looks at the photo albums, and the photo albums tell the story of Iran was the capital of fashion, in the 50s. Not that long ago, the ladies were
The
wearing
Silk Road went through
yeah,
Iran.
Paris was copying fashion from Iran, particularly the women's fashion. Education was second to none for men and women, in particular women. So these photo albums show the family parties, of where you can see in the fashion where all of a sudden we interfered and now they're covered, these poor ladies. They can't go out without their hair covered up. They can't go out. The photo albums that I've seen, that I've got here at my mum's home, it shows the interference. So I don't think it's a prophecy. I think it's a script that has been working for them for a very long time. Um, and they're following the script even down to bringing out the Bible, pre-war. So
So
it's
you think about it, though, a script is prophecy.
mm,
If I'm writing the script, and let's say you're talking, I don't know what you mean by long time, but I'm thinking thousands of years. Uh, this is what I'm talking about. And you're going to give your ancestors, your progenitors, the book. And in the book gives you the script as to how these things. And if we look at the world governments, you can see the United States, again, where we go, things just get messed up. And now we're on the brink of a world war, potentially nuclear war. This is crazy. So we
yeah,
all just need to be thinking peace to this whole situation because where are we at? I mean, I think of us as, so-called enlightened groups. I don't see us all coming together. Maybe, maybe if someone would, put this out there, wouldn't it be worthwhile to have channels all going live at the same time, um, for the unity to step this thing back, to de-escalate it?
It would sure help.
I mean, because
Hmm.
and
prophecy or not, um, I don't believe, as Sarah Connor said, that the future is set.
I don't
no,
either.
no,
I don't
it's
either.
not.
Long live the
But
Terminator. Yeah, yeah. Anyway,
it's set
You
for
know,
as long as we can third party stuff, though. For as long as we can let the powers and leaders that we have over us, for as long as we can allow them to third party stuff by saying this is God's word, we we've got people charging from the White House for prayers. I mean, they're monetizing religion now in a way that
religion's
even
always been monetized.
yeah, but
yeah,
I mean, in a way that they are out there saying government and religion, we lied to you all the time. There's no separation. They used to at least pretend there was a separation. There is no separation to this, and it's because religion gets in the subconscious of people. It brings a superiority and an othering of people. And a lot of the world is up in arms. A lot of the world is trying to speak on what's happening. But our Western media, whether it's YouTube or BBC One, is very careful to what it allows in and what the algorithms push forward,
you
Well, I
which
know,
hope
is a
it is.
great
It's not where
thing.
you get your news from.
I
I
see
mean,
that's where the hope is, though, Wayne. Like
geez.
you're talking about Toto ripping back the veil.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Come on,
pe-
Toto.
people, it's happening though. I mean, people are channeling. I mean, there's people communicating, remembering who they really are beyond just this physical body. I
So
think
why
those
can't
under
we
those
find a
veils.
billionaire heiress that would fund a worldwide moment of peace? Where's
Probably
all
because
these
the
freaking
billionaire.
billionaires? You're
Well,
dying. You can't take it with you. So why don't you get in touch with me? My email is right down there. And why don't
mhm.
you come up and pony up about 10 million and we'll get something worldwide done that will counter what we saw and the world heading to
To
a
become
day
a
of
bit,
Okay.
peace, uh, something. So put your money into a good place. And why I
to be,
said 10 million is that you're going to need to buy media time.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Lots and lots of media time.
Billionaire, a billionaire, sorry, to become a billionaire in these systems, you have
Yes.
to be willing to do people over. I haven't found a billionaire yet that is truly of high moral standing or ethical upstanding. Have you? I haven't found one or seen one or heard of
See, that's why
one.
I'm still looking for this God of love, and we'll put an invite saying, come on in. You know,
Yeah,
it's going to be a
yeah.
woman. I'll just tell you that right now.
Or we have to maybe
Maybe that is the
consider
goddess of love.
that, and maybe we need to shut down these satellites for 24 hours and have a dedicated channel like you speak of, where truth is given rather than media lies and script. That would be a powerful thing
You
to
know what I'm
break
thinking?
forward.
Boy, the thought is hitting me, and I'm serious about that. If you know a billionaire that is looking for a legacy, so imagine this. Um, So we did this back in the 80s, Live Aid, Farm Aid. So why can't we do Peace Aid for Mankind, where we could pull an all-day concert where this would be the single focus? To hell with your ideologies of government, political persuasion, religion. No, no, no. We're talking about a gift to humanity, unconditional. I was, outside just loving what I'm seeing, and I've had this discussion with myself. So, how can you have a God who says it is of love that provides unconditional love, but then puts conditions to it?
Mhm. And sin to it.
So,
Right.
I'm just talking about a day of peace. If you're going to protest, protest with a hug. Protest with a handshake, protest with a gift. If that's what I'm saying, let's protest against this system. The people do not prosper in war.
No,
Missiles should not be flying in either country. It's time for us to take a break. And I'm serious about this.
I am
Spread
too.
this out there. Talk about it. You can make it your own idea. I don't care. But we should begin to seriously put this, and it would be for nonprofit. It would be no profit from this. It would be by the generous gifts of philanthropists out there.
But the philanthropists, they don't want good things to happen, and that's where I see the obstacle.
Well,
I would love to know one that does, but I haven't found one yet. So,
And I know there's some
I knew of one. He passed last year, but he lived in Las Vegas. So I disagree with you on that.
let's say I just
Because
haven't met one.
yeah,
Yeah,
when they
I
get
know they
close to
probably
death,
exist.
Trina, when they get close to death,
They
they
do
start
start
thinking
to.
about that. They do.
Yeah, they do. I think
Yeah,
you're
they do.
absolutely correct. I've actually, I've been starting to witness a little bit of that. Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I was just saying that, it's I get
And I
frustrated
just
because
some people in America that are just like somebody in the chat says, Joe Mack says in the chat, peace ambassadors. And we went round as peace ambassadors during those 5 years that we had recently. And again, it's difficult because the police became the antagonists, and people who were walking among us, dressed like us, acting like us, all of a sudden became the protagonist to try and light things up. So there's a self-policing needed very much so, but also that I've seen people that I follow in the US that have been protesting peacefully for people's rights and offering people who are not being so peaceful at the behest of the powers that be jobs there and then to say, quit what you're doing and I'll give you a job. I can give five of you a job today and guarantee you paid more. So there were some philanthropists in that crowd too. It's just that these antagonists they know no bounds. They'll
Well,
do
they're
whatever.
being well funded. The heiress of
Mm.
Walmart, Sam Walton, his daughter,
Mhm.
I think that she put up for the No King protest nationally, well, close to $500 million. So if she's writing a check for 500 million, I think we could do for peace and love at far less than that. Yeah.
Yeah. But just finding one of them that
And the
will do it.
antagonist, again, most of these people that are out there, Jenny, as you're talking, I'm talking here in the United States, these are the antagonists. That's what they do. They
Yes.
make good money at it.
Yes.
We saw that. We've seen that. There's websites where these powers openly advertise for crisis actors, or they
Hmm.
advertise for
Yeah.
antagonists. They're advertising it as a job role because it keeps the system going. They'll do anything to stop this system from being uh, deconstructed.
Joe Mack
That
says he heard they get paid $200 a day. Yeah.
Yeah, some here got paid more during those 5 years that we had.
Which were you talking about time period, Jenny? These 5 years.
C-19, the 5 years of COVID-19 when I was out there on the streets a lot. There was a lot of people losing their jobs, unfairly. We were sticking up for the care workers. There was various different groups that we were trying to defend. And it was during that time that I witnessed it with my own eyes that there was antagonists that walked among us and there was antagonists on the police force, very definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here it's gotten, and we've got to ratchet down. We've got to focus in on, I don't,
You know what
it
I
hurts me to see that we're a country divided. We're in civil war, um, and the world is on the brink. Again, anything that deals with Israel, it's just it's just not good because this
remember
is the
When
yeah.
you talked about how gods die, it's because you stop worshiping them.
Hmm.
I literally, I've seen this for so long. This is the decision that people will choose, and that's the bifurcation. And those
Oh, we're
bifurcations,
divided.
yeah, and we will go into different timelines. But when you go through the transition of this bifurcation, you're still gonna have an understanding of kind of a full picture. But like I said, the bifurcation is going to affect everybody differently based on their choices and where they live and their religion and what they're fighting for, what they believe. So you're going to have so many different the way it appears when we start this division of these timelines. And I think right now, this week, we're in a massive jump. We will be going into a new timeline. Everybody will be, but you don't know when this happens because everything remains kind of the same. But you do see weird stuff like Mandela effects and stuff. This is what I see. It's continuing. So we're going to see the script play out, but it won't affect many people. And that's going to be seem odd, but I know it's going to be true. People will not be involved. Somehow, some way, it will not affect them the way it affects other people. They'll skate through it, while other people will be utterly wiped out. And I
Just
see it's in pockets. It's not like, and it's not one big event. It's like these waves, boom, boom, one thing after another to break us down. But there's going to be those of us who hold that peace. And that's our job, to hold that peace and be those domes of protection that will make it through this transition. And the rebuilding part, it's going to be challenging, but the most wonderful experience this lifetime will bring you. It will be that wonderful when it's done.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm sitting here trying to say, well, how do we prevent the potential death of thousands of people, a mass casualty event. People are dying right now because of,
Yeah,
you know, if it's religion, if it's a god or whatever. And here's where my heart is. One human being that's being offered on this altar of war is to one human being too many.
I agree.
And I don't know what we could do individually. I don't know what we could do as a
I,
group
I
to
think you're
prevent
right.
the death.
I think you're right, Wayne. Promoting peace, telling people you have a choice. You can choose war, you can choose peace. Focus on peace. I really think you're on the right track with this. And I do think the world is going to capture the momentum for the ones who are ready to receive and do this work. They will hear your cry because guess what? We're already crying it out with you.
Yeah, it's just it sucks. And
I
I don't know
know.
why humanity must always go down the path of blood. We say that we are in the image of God or goddess, however you want to believe that, and that we're these powerful beings. And yet, as we said when we started this conversation, it's like a dog chasing its tail,
You put, what if this
round
place
and
is
round and round.
What if the ones that are operating in the dark, trying to do some not so nice things, what if that's like their ultimate experience of wanting to experience the darkness? And maybe
So is
this is
there karma attached to that? I mean,
that's a great question. Great
I mean,
question, Wayne.
yeah.
I wonder that too. I'm like, if you came
I
in to
mean,
be the villain,
somebody is screwing the
right,
pooch here. There's a lot of negative karma. So who gets that? You know?
I I ask that
Or
question.
is that just the trick to keep us in line
Yeah.
that we think
And
there's
Narcissism
this karma thing?
I
feel
ask that
calm.
too.
Yeah,
What's that?
a true narcissist doesn't feel karma. Anybody who's had a true narcissist in their life will have had that thought of, how do they keep getting away with it? How do they keep getting away with it? Why? Because in their synapses, in their manifestation of their reality, they're never wrong. So they're not accepting of any karma or any wrongdoing. Therefore, they don't bring it and manifest it into their lives. So I think karma is a misunderstood thing and used as a trick against us, very much so in a lot of cases, because the true narcissist, a true monster, doesn't really get the same karma that we put on ourselves because they don't accept it in the synapses form. They don't accept it in the thought form that they could ever be wrong or ever need punishment. So it takes a long time, if ever, for a lot of narcissists that I've known or experienced to get karma, for something to stop them. But they
And
still
I
don't
wonder
feel.
too, Jenny, if that's why they don't have empathy. Maybe they
Yeah,
can't play the villain if they have empathy. And maybe
yeah,
that's a big,
Can, can I
yeah.
just break in here? I just got a text from Cindy, and
Okay.
Michael is going in for emergency surgery,
Oh,
um, appendix, and they're having to move him to another hospital. So let's just put our love and thoughts, prayers, however you put yourself. Just think of Mike and Cindy from Evolutionary um, Healing Arts.
yeah.
Um, yeah. So, just
Oh,
his face, Cindy. This is a lot for her to be done as well. They have two dogs that are just like super attached to them, and so yeah, and it's just I don't know any more than that, but yeah, so they're moving him to another hospital as we speak.
we speak peace and calm directly to that appendix, and we tell it to stay still while we wait for the hands that touch him to be anointed by the wisdom and the knowledge, even knowledge that they think they've forgotten, floods through their hands as they work safely, accurately, and in a way that is life-giving, and life-fulfilling. Let there be gifted hands placed upon him in every part of the process, and let Cindy feel the love of all of us right now, wrapping around her through this process, also sitting beside her, and being a part of this with her. So it is.
Yes, I agree. And I'm just telling her,
May every vibration, sound, color, and information be received as you need it.
Yeah.
And may the fire of your spirit burn away all that is not needed and replace it with what you do.
yes, that's what I'm telling her. So, all right, that's see, folks, and yeah,
Guys, water. He's water. We're water. Love
you
him.
know,
Love his
and I
water.
agree with you, Jenny, on the
Love him.
hands of the surgeon, just
Yes.
gift that talented individual the gift of it's a healing process. When you think about an emergency situation, Cindy says, thank you all to, she's given her love to all of us. And yeah,
We can
and I
hijack
want to,
that process. We can be a part of those surgeons' hands if people
Absolutely.
concentrate on it
mhm.
until further notice. We
I would
can
like
be.
to see they go in and they look at it because that's the first thing they do. They look at it with a scope. I want them to
Mhm.
say, "Oh my God, it looks okay. It looks all
Yeah,
right.
they've done
Let's
that with me
reverse it."
before. They've done that. I was knocked out for one of the broken noses that I had, and the surgeon came out furious because he believed he'd gotten the wrong patient because I'd gotten
You
to the
already
point of.
healed it. That's what I
But they
want.
were interceding outside. My mum and a few other people from the church were interceding outside. It was a really bad break. They were going to have to break it all down. And so, yeah, I know that to be true. So I can claim that manifestation to be true. Um, but that just, that it happened to me. That I was knocked out. They were ready to operate, but the intercession outside moved the bones. The bones moved and reformed in minutes. So
I'd
it
also
does.
like to bring out Gilbert. Gilbert will be going in for surgery as well for skin cancer. So, again,
Where?
folks, and then I know of a couple of others that are dealing with some challenges. Gilbert's right here. So, brother, we're right there with you and looking to see you get a clean bill of health. So,
Absolutely.
We
It
can
seems a
yeah.
so.
lot of things are being activated right now. It seems like a lot of things are being activated right now. Uh,
Yeah, Cindy just said this was they telling her at the hospital this was from a tick bite.
Okay, I'll send over some of my potions for that then, because that would be even for his healing process. It would be great. So I'll send them to you all,
Yeah,
Trina.
yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
but we're
yeah.
speaking to your skin cells right
Well,
now. I want you.
they're really healthy people. I mean, for two people, they
yeah,
are diligent. So
yes.
yeah, who knows? Because his system is so healthy that others it could have
All I
done.
know is that the battle between the darkness and the light is real right now. The bifurcation, it
Mm,
is real. And these are also energetic, trying to dim the light of the one shining so bright. So, Mike, we give you so much light that nothing dark can touch you ever. Bust that shit out of your body. He can do it.
Well,
He can
that's
do
the
it.
other issue is that here in the United States, we've weaponized ticks.
Yes, that's what
They're
I'm
a
telling you. The
bioweapon.
darkness is on
Are you
fire to
kidding? It
try to kill us.
put me in a coma for almost 9 days straight. I was
Oh, the
paralyzed on one
frustration.
side of my body, had to relearn how to actually read and in the process. So,
Can I
yeah,
be just straight up honest with you guys? 2 weeks ago, my sister was recovering with a full hysterectomy, and out of the blue, it felt like I developed 3 tumors inside the left side of my body. And I literally started working and I made the decision, I will do this on my own or it won't get done. And I talked to my body, said, put yourself back together. Because if you don't, you won't have anything left, and I worked on it and worked on it, and they're all gone. We can
Yeah.
do this. We can do this. Don't give up. Do it. You can do this.
Mm,
You have to
yeah.
know you can do this. Fire it up. No one can do it for you. So do it.
There's a lot of people, one for Catherine. If I told you the darkness that is around me and my boys still,
Burn them with your light.
I'm just saying, Catherine, actually what I see in my mind's eye is that
Yeah.
there's a reprieve because um, imagine a knight that has a sword, who has the
Mhm.
shield, the armament, and he's come upon you and your world. Um, he's cut that off so just look at it being sliced. And if you need the help, there's people here that can
Mhm.
help you on that. So,
So,
yeah.
Wayne, as you were speaking, I was shuffling there. The Seven of Swords comes up. So
Yeah.
you're speaking about a sword.
Time to
Excuse
fire up the engine. Let's
I've got
Well, literally,
try it.
that's what I saw was this sword
yeah,
coming
I've
down.
got permadate, so excuse the permadate from the
When you
garden.
saw me
Um,
dragging mine through the
but
sword,
yeah,
right? The dragging
here's
it
the
through the
seven.
ground.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
there you
here's the
go.
Seven of Swords. You can see here, Catherine, this lady is cloaked in dark clothing, in a black cloak. She's holding these swords. Now, the Seven of Swords is its thoughts, its words, its intellect, its wisdom. That's the element of the swords. It's also the written word. So it speaks of things that have been stolen from you, this Seven of Swords. But here, uh, in your ultimate darkness, which is a very different perception of the darkness that you're perceiving around you, your darkness from within that is clothed on this lady is actually taking those swords back. So I want you to take ownership over everything, every word that comes out of your mouth. Be diligent for 3 days. Solid about every word that comes out of your mouth. Reclaim, reframe, rephrase in a way that is of your power and is of your glory. And that comes from your ultimate darkness, your dark woman manifest. So, around you and your boys, you are the ultimate sword weaver. You are the ultimate sword forger. And this card claims that for you. So if you needed any confirmation of your strength and of your power and your connection to Wayne and Trina and me and all of the people here, then the cards gave that to you today. That was you bringing that card out. I shuffled them for you. You brought it out. You let me know what you needed to hear. Now you've heard it. Wield that sword with confidence, with pride, with resolve. You are strong. You are the forger. So whatever has been stolen from you, you claim it back and reframe it and rephrase it at least tenfold in for 3 days and then come back and see where you're at.
Also, take that. Here's the thing. If darkness is like a covering, the thing about it is I like black. It makes me look good. What I'm trying to say is take that veil, that gloom that's over you and make it your own personal veil. It's a cloak. You cloak yourself with it. And what does a cloak do? It keeps you warm. It's a way to transmute this darkness into your own power.
Absolutely.
You
I
can
do
see
my
that?
best work in
Yeah.
black cloak.
Yeah.
I
I
do
mean,
my best in
I
a
think
black.
it's kind of cool that chicks get to wear those veils. It's like a crocheted one. I mean, So,
Mhm.
Catherine, just crochet that darkness into your own cloak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine the power in that.
And
All right.
Catherine, you have dominion over your children until they're 18. So if they are still yours, you are their guardian and you can intervene on their behalf legally. So do it.
And there's an expression, it's very old, but it says, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." Every
Absolutely.
word, every action that has been spoken against you will be devoid of any power upon you. So,
You know, it
walk
was
out,
interesting,
put the
Wayne.
Bee Gees on and dance.
I heard that there would be a need for us to come upon this call to retrieve our treasures in heaven and start to manifest them into the physical world. And I was seeing that in the form of healing. It's what was showing up as the manifestation of what we hold in the higher realms of wisdom. And it's really time to start anchoring what you know that you just don't remember. Bring it in now. Recall your memory of your gifts that you've earned and start to use them with fierce intention.
There was a woman who had a near-death experience, and when she was in heaven, in her experience, she said she came upon, as far as the eye could see, these huge warehouses. And their guide, she asked, she says, "Well, what is all this?" And the guide said, "These are the treasures of those on earth who never realized that these gifts were theirs,
Yes.
and they go
Yes.
unused." So,
Yeah.
all right,
It's
Mary
time.
Woods, we love you,
Reclaim
darling.
it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Miss Trina, Miss Jenny, love you. Thank you. This has been just an excellent, excellent, uh, yeah, this is why we're here. And let's just think love and unity. I mean, we've got to listen. If we could do a half-assed job as we did in the late 60s and early 70s, and people like John Lennon and others who, gave us the gift of music in our protest, we can do this again by nonviolent means. And what we're saying is that the world's not perfect. It's anything but we need to interject that good side of humanity and let people see that you don't have to go with anger and frustration, no matter how big the challenge is. There is a better way of approaching this if you want change. So, again, if there is anyone that has that type of wealth that you're looking to really sow
Make
a
a
seed
difference.
going forward, let us know.
We will do
Yeah.
fabulous things.
So, all right. Love you too. Love everyone out there.
Mhm.
Thank you in the chat room. Thank you for hitting the like button. And we'll see you next Tuesday, right?
Right.
Can't wait.
All right. Much love, everyone. Thank you all.
Thank you for the fire.